Hello, readers. Welcome to 20 Questions with Your Favorite Author, where we ask authors important questions like why would you agree to be on this podcast? I'm Kelly Link Holney, Editorial Director at Cursed Dragon Ship Publishing. Our guest this week is Rachel A. Brune, dark fiction writer and visitor of haunted military posts. As a military journalist, Rachel wrote and photographed the Army and its soldiers for 5 years. When she moved on, she didn't quit writing stories with soldiers in them. She just added werewolves, sorcerers, a couple evil mad scientists, and a fae or two. She enjoys poking around old military posts and listening for the ghost of old soldiers. If she's not your favorite now, she will be after. Yay! Welcome, Rachel. Welcome to 20 Questions. How are you this evening?
I'm doing excellent, thank you.
Excellent. I hope you're ready for our hard-hitting questions.
I was told they'd be very super serious, very formal, and I had to bring my A
right.
game. So
Exactly. No fun on this show.
none.
It's banned.
None,
No
whatever.
fun. That's right. So, speaking of no fun, let's start with military. Zafo and I are ex-military too, so I get it. So, but a military journalist, that is so exciting. I mean, you must have a never-ending supply of characters to pull from. Like, what got you into that sort of work?
So I originally joined the military almost immediately after 9/11 occurred. And I'm probably dating myself here, but I had just graduated college. I was working in the city, and that event occurred. And that was basically the catalyst that got me into the recruiter's office. But I also kind of knew that there were some things that I had particular interest in. And when you join the Army as an enlisted person, which I did at first, you basically get to choose your job. So you go, you take the test, they say, well, you could do this, this, this. And I said, hey, I saw this online and I'd really like to check it out. And it was a visual information specialist. Right. So they have these folks called combat camera. They didn't have any slots for that though, so I didn't get to do that. But they're like, well, have you thought about being a journalist, you know, being a military reporter? And I said, well, no, because this is the first time I thought about joining the Army. But yeah, tell me more about that. So
but that sounds cool.
Right. So that's literally how that happened was, yeah, that sounds cool. I'll try that out. And then boom, I was in the military. I went to I think it was 13 weeks. I think it was about 13 weeks of training on taking photos, like photojournalism photos, writing news stories in the AP, you know, the 5-paragraph, you know, who, what, when, where, why, the inverted pyramid, all that good stuff. And then, then they were like, all right, have fun, booted me out into the reserves. And so that's my villain origin story.
It could be a hero one.
Depending on the day.
That's true. Well, as a veteran, do you have a pet peeve that's a trope found in military fiction? Do you have something you see a lot? You're like, seriously?
No.
I mean, she's like, I don't know. Do I want to say it?
I just get one. Okay. So a lot of times, I'm pretty good at suspending disbelief because I know that a lot of folks are not. You know, they might be writing military characters, but they don't really have a lot of experience with it. When it's really, really obvious that the person who's writing didn't do any research at all, and they're writing about these characters in this world. And again, like I said, I don't know if it's necessarily a pet peeve as when you break that authenticity too many times, for me, it just doesn't become enjoyable anymore.
Gotcha. They pulled you out of the story.
They've pulled me right out of the story. And this is why I'm constantly offering because by this time I have a lot of friends who are writers. I'm like, would you, if you're writing a story with a military character, I am so happy to read it and give you some feedback because I know, or like if you just have a question, like I've had friends like message me on Facebook, hey, how are you doing? Oh, I got a military question. I'm like, okay, I haven't talked to you in 2 years, but shoot it to me. And they shoot me the question.
Let's hear it.
And I give it back and I'm like, okay, cool. Talk to you another, you know, it for me, for me, that it kind of goes back to being a journalist because that was like the first thing that I ever did in the Army was basically tell the Army story and explain the Army to these different audiences, to civilians, to other military audiences. And so that's just something that's part of who I am. Um, and so yeah, so I don't have like a lot of like specific pet peeves as much as, hey, find a veteran or a soldier, or and just give them a beer and let them go, and you'll find out more than you ever wanted to know.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. We'll tell you all of the things.
All of them.
All of the
No
things.
kidding.
It's
There
it's
I was.
amazing. It's amazing what doors open up when you tell someone you're a writer. I've never had someone then not tell me things. Right? Like I'm
It's
like I
true.
I have a question about chemistry. I'm gonna call, this chemistry professor at this college. Hey, I'm a writer and I'm doing research. Sure, what do you need to know? Like they just love to talk to writers. So there's no excuse not to do your research.
Exactly.
That's right. Um, so so liking to go to old military posts, I love that too. So it's fascinating, right? Well, have you discovered any ghosts that told you a story that you had to record?
Not really.
No, you just keep looking for one.
No, I like, if you're talking about literal ghosts, I am like the least psychic person ever.
Oh, well, yeah, me
It's,
too.
forget about it.
Mhm,
Um,
mhm,
I have I have encountered places and stories that have kind of crept into my subconscious.
mhm,
And um, especially when it comes to looking at women who are in the military, like,
mhm,
back in World War II, in World War
mhm,
One, like all of these different things. Like a lot of these times, because that's part of my personal history and my personal lineage, like these are the women
mhm,
who came before, and this is where women are now, specifically because women joined and they performed their duty and they served. And now I
mhm,
am here as part of that lineage. And so it's never necessarily been I've walked into like an old barracks or driven past the museum and thought to myself, oh, that's something I need to talk about. But it's been when
mhm.
I've read a book, or I have visited, or I've seen old uniforms or things like that, that I thought, this is all part of this continuum, and
Mhm.
there's stories in here. I just have to figure out which ones are asking me to tell them.
That's awesome. The one that resonates the most. Or the one that's the loudest. Sometimes it's just the
Oldest.
one that's the loudest,
Yeah.
right? Yeah. Uh, so do you still use photography to help tell your stories?
Not really.
No.
No,
No photography.
no.
That's the fun part.
I mean, I take pictures on Instagram and I throw a filter on them, especially
Mm.
because my dogs are cute and my cat is cute, and and I wanted to show people that I actually got the lavender to sprout, so I'll take a picture and throw it up there, but not so
Right?
much anymore.
Nope. I get it. I get it. I was like the family photographer and took photos at every event. And then I realized, but I wasn't participating in the event. Right? So it's like you
Hmm.
can't, if you hide behind the camera. I wasn't even doing it on purpose until I realized it. So no, I can understand that. Makes sense. And also, as I was looking through your bookography, I don't even know what to call it. I'm going to call it bookography for now on because discography came to my head, right? So
Yes.
from now on, it's bookography. I made a new word. I'm allowed. I'm an editor. Um, so it looks like you specialize in short stories. So what is it about that form of storytelling that appeals to you?
It's a form where you can try out a bunch of different things. You know,
Mm.
it's
Mm-hmm.
like, here, I really enjoy steampunk. I don't know if I have it in me to write an extended steampunk novel, but for a short story, I can do that.
Mm-hmm.
Some of the stories that I've written for the writer punk anthologies,
Mm-hmm.
that was a way to kind of explore these classic pieces of literature in a shorter format, and it fits really well with my attention span right now. But it's also like the short story form is just, there's so many great things about it. I mean, I love all literature. I'll literally read
Mm-hmm.
anything, the back of a cereal box, license plate,
Me
anything like
too.
that.
Yes.
Um,
Yes.
but I've always really loved short stories, and I've always
Mm-hmm.
really loved how they can take, even if it's a short story that somehow spans years or decades, it's still this one intense emotion or this one intense conflict, and you just pack it right in. And I feel like sometimes that makes it like that short, sharp jab that a short story
Yes.
can deliver. That's I really love
Can
it.
be very satisfying.
Yes. To
Hmm.
write and to
Yeah,
read.
agreed. Totally agreed. So but I see that you also write full length novels, of course. How long did it take you to write your first book?
Oh geez. Off and on, I would say about 2 years. And that book is somewhere on my hard drive, far away,
Hidden.
hidden, probably
Uh-huh.
forever.
That's right.
But it's yeah, it was a sword and sorcery, fantasy, and I thought I knew what I was doing, and 10 years later realized that yeah, I had some things to learn. I still have things to learn.
Right.
Um,
And that's funny, right? Because so 10 years later, then you're like, I could fix that. And you're like, but it'd be less work to just write a new one.
yes, that's exactly it.
Yeah, yeah, very familiar story. Yep, I totally agree. Let's see. We authors tend to pull from what's familiar. Which one of your characters do you relate to the most?
Um, oh jeez.
I know you have a bunch of them spread out. I really was excited to ask you this question.
Um, so there's a character in the series that I'm working on now, which is not out
Hmm.
yet. It will be. I need to finish editing the first book and then submit the second one. Um,
Exciting.
but she's basically um, a veteran working in the field of languages and
Hmm.
kind of a supporting character, and sometimes feels like she's the person who is the most emotionally mature. Um, there's definitely an older sister vibe going on. And
Mm-hmm.
it was only after I had written a couple of books in the series that I realized that that was what was going on. It was very appropriate to the story. Um, and it's also appropriate for me because I am the oldest of six. So yes,
You're like, I vibe with her, man. I vibe with her.
yeah. So that's
Mhm.
Karen is the name of the character, and she is basically like I said, she's kind of like an older sister, someone who is military, ex-military, and is maybe not as emotionally available,
Mm.
which I also sometimes feel like
Yeah,
just
I think it's also common for an oldest sister. Yeah. Hmm.
so. But yeah,
Yep.
but there's little pieces of me in all of my characters.
Mm.
Some people will ask, oh, well, do you draw on your own experience? I'm like, yeah, sometimes, but a lot of times what I'm putting in the characters are my flaws, the things that I have trouble with, the conflicts that I've encountered. And that's,
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, here you go, enjoy. And they're like, what the heck? Why are you doing this to me?
You're so mean. You are not a kind God.
Oh,
But
I'm kind of vengeful and sometimes petty. So, and I make bad puns. I can't help it.
I mean, we don't read about boring people, right? It's like I would like to be a boring person, but I'm not reading about boring people.
Exactly.
Yeah. Boring life is, safe.
It is safe. Um, I think there's boring as there's not really much happening or things like that. And then I think that there's boring as in, hey, there's not huge, huge things going on. And I think that
Hmm.
sometimes that is mistaken as boring. I
Mm.
think that for a lot of my characters,
Hmm.
there's that I throw lots of events at them and I throw lots of big conflicts at them. But at the
Hmm.
same time, yeah, I wouldn't want to live in that world. I would want to live in the place where, I have time to take up a new hobby, or I have time
Yeah.
to relax and go on a vacation without, assassins coming after me. I'm like, that's really fun to watch in the movie with some popcorn. You're like, oh my goodness, here we go.
Right.
Um,
Yeah.
but yeah, if that actually happened, I'd be like, no, this is terrible and I hate it. And I've
Nope.
decided to
I'm
go
out.
home and be an accountant.
Right? Well, I said I'm a huge Supernatural fan. I don't know if you have you watched that show? Love
So many
Supernatural, right?
times.
And I'm like, Sam and Dean, oh yeah, what an adventure, a hunter. I want to be a hunter. But in real life, if I went somewhere and Sam and Dean were there, I would turn around and leave. I mean, something horrible is going down here, and I don't want to have anything to do with it. Right? So difference between fantasy and real life, It's
Yeah. Yeah.
nope. Somebody's gonna die, and I know me. It'll be me. I gotta go.
I'm not as fast as I used to be, so yeah.
When they say wait here in this salt circle, I'm like, no problem. You have
I got
extra
it.
salt, just in case. I'm gonna stay right here. You let me know when you kill the bad guy, and we're good.
Yep. Yep. Hey, don't go in there. Okay.
Yeah, no problem. I got
stay
you.
right here.
That's right. Oh, awesome. Let's see. Well, speaking of Supernatural, if you could hang out with your favorite characters, who would it be, and where would you go?
Oh, geez. From Supernatural or just from anywhere?
Oh, from anywhere. Yeah, not Supernatural. Just your favorite, whatever your favorite world is.
I honestly, I think that the hobbits have it going on,
Right?
and I would have to invite myself for tea. I would bring some, food, because apparently that's what you do at a hobbit party. But
Well, you can grow lavender now. You can add to the community.
right? I'm down. But to me, there's like, if you both reading and then the Lord of the Rings, the Peter Jackson film, like when you see that there's so much green and it's so comfortable, and I'm like, yeah, I'm just gonna go hang out with Bilbo for a little bit, like before he went on the quest, like
right before he was like crazy and
like,
unstable. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So.
No doubt. Yeah, no, that's good choice. Good choice. I like that. Again, because the quest goes back to the Sam and Dean thing. No, I'm fine. I'll stay here. You go on your adventure. I hope you save the world. Bye.
Right. Now, I do think it would be kind of fun to have a beer with Castiel.
That could be fun.
Somebody's sneaking out of bed. Who needs to go back to bed? So
they're like, why is mom in there talking to herself?
It's happened before. It's
hilarious. Well, speaking of other worlds, if you could write in any world that wasn't your own, which world would that be?
Oh,
you can't say Lord of the Rings again. Come on now.
Okay. I do have a list. Cool. I would love to write like I would like to write in the world of Pern, like the Dragon Riders of Pern and McCaffrey. I think there's just so many opportunities for stories from that world. Like it's
so rich.
Fantastic.
Let
me see. Oh gosh. I have a huge list and I'm blanking on every single one. The Dragon Riders of Pern. Oh shoot. Yeah, there we go. We'll just be like,
good choice.
I'm still writing. I'm still writing.
And now with the practice of putting away that other horrible fantasy, you could probably do it now. See, you're like, I've got the skills now. I can make this happen.
But yeah, that was one of my first, like when I was first reading fantasy in like middle school and just like kind of getting into it, those were the books that helped me get into it. And of course, I realized later that it's actually the way they come to the world is actually a little more science fiction. And so that's kind of one of the things that I liked about it, was the fact that you had this blending of the science fiction genre, and then you had these fantasy elements coming into that genre. It was just really cool. I enjoyed it a lot.
Yes. No, that would be fun. I do like Fern. Yeah, and that's what Anne McCaffrey always said. She writes science fiction, not fantasy. She said that over and over again. Yep. But it goes to that point because let's face it, we as writers also know once you write and it's out in the world, it's not ours anymore.
Yeah.
So, it is what the fans say it is, whether we like it or not, no
You
matter
know
how
what?
they pronounce our worlds.
Listen, as long, you know it, I create the characters, I put them on the page, I try to
Mhm.
communicate thoughts about them and have them grow and develop. And if people like my stuff enough to want to take it and ship characters and headcanon and like that's a bucket list item for me.
Yes.
Like
Yes.
that's when I will know that I've
Mhm.
achieved a certain level of, I don't know if I would say success, but a certain level of where I want to be as a writer, to have characters and worlds that resonate so much with people that they feel inspired to create stories of their own with, using the books and the stories as a starting point.
Oh yeah, I think that's perfectly fair. It's a great way to do it. Um, well, what of your own projects that are in progress or are not started are you most excited about?
Right now, it's the Secret Agent Werewolf series that I'm writing. And actually, most of it is written at this point. I've got
Mhm.
5 books planned. The first 2 are done. One is the edits that I owe to my publisher. So sorry, John, they're coming, I promise. The second one is finished and it needs to go after I finish the edits. And then
Mhm.
there's 3 more. One is fully written and the other 2 are in various stages. And the reason that I really enjoy that is it's it's just fun. The first book was hard,
Mhm.
but as I got more comfortable with the characters and as I got more of a chance to be comfortable with writing in a novel structure, they've
Mhm.
become fun to write. And
Nice.
I grew up, I love James Bond.
Mhm.
Um, the Jason Bourne movies. I haven't read any of the novels. No, I read one, but mostly I've been
Mhm.
watching the movies. But
Mhm.
like, I do love a good spy thriller, especially that Cold War era spy versus spy. You know,
Mhm.
and
Yep.
so this was my chance to kind of play around a little bit with some of those tropes and throw a werewolf in. Like you do.
Like you do. I mean, it's just required. I understand that totally. Actually, totally. So, very cool. So it's like urban fantasy but like with a spy twist.
Yes.
I
Yes.
like it. It's very clever. A more international theme.
A little bit. Yeah.
Nice. Well, I have to confess, like a spy myself, I might have perused your blog via infamous-scribbler.com and saw that you like to knit and make jewelry and weave, and a woman after my own heart, let me tell you that. So, what is it about crafting that appeals to you?
You can make something and have like a physical object that you have produced. And that's, I think, the basic, like the first line of why I like it. Like I sit down and I do an activity and boom, I have a hat.
Hmm.
Like, okay. And so my kids have like 3 or 4 hats each. I think they're a little tired of me knitting them hats. They're like, Mom, good. Um, but like it's just you can do something like that. Um,
Hmm.
I think on another level, it's another form of creative expression. I
Hmm.
choose the colors. If I'm working with a pattern, I choose the pattern. If I'm not working with a pattern, I am figuring out how to structure something, how to put it together.
Hmm.
And if it works, it's great. If it doesn't work, I take it out and I start it again. Um, but depending on what I'm making, it could be the work of a night or the work of a week, depending on what it is.
Hmm.
And then, and this is especially for knitting and spinning and like all of the fiber arts that I do. It's that connection, that lineage. So you're doing something that people have done for hundreds, sometimes thousands of years. Like when I grab my drop spindle and I'm spinning with my drop spindle, that's something that people have been doing for since people started figuring out that you could take fibers and twist them together and
Hmm.
now you have string. And so there's just like this cool, it's just like a cool thought. And I don't think about this every time I sit down. I'm like, oh,
Right.
I'm doing history right now. No, I just like, oh, let me make some yarn. Um, but in its entirety, it is very cool to think that you're like when you're telling stories,
Mhm.
when you're a writer, you're part of a tradition, a storytelling tradition that human beings have always engaged in.
Mhm.
So whether you're writing it down as a book to sell, or you're reading your work out loud, or you're putting it out there, maybe you're writing fan fiction and you're putting it out there, you're engaging in storytelling and narrative, which is really integral to who we are as human beings.
Absolutely. Long before there was the written word, we were telling stories.
Yep. And
Mhm.
and to me, that's just like having that connection to a present community and then to a historical community. To me, is something that's just very cool.
I love that. So it's just like the military bases. Like you like that connection. I
Yes.
like it. I like it. It's very romantic. What else do you do to relax?
Um. Oh, geez. I don't
She's like,
really
who
do a
has
lot of
time?
that. I don't really do a lot
Who
of
has time? I don't know.
that. Probably make some tea and read a book. I love reading.
Nice. Me too.
Um. I I also just bought a tea kettle that can
Ooh, fancy.
because so my niece unfortunately broke my electric kettle.
Oh.
And she was like, "Oh no," and I was like, "Oh no," but really I was like, "Oh yes, now I can go get the other one that I really wanted." And it has, you can put it to the different temperatures. Like if you want to do
Uh-huh.
green tea, you can do the green tea temperature, and if you want to do herbal tea, you can do the herbal tea temperature. So you can pick which one you want. It's
That's so
wonderful.
cool. Yeah.
There's
Huh.
nothing like a nice cup of green tea, which brewed at just the right temperature for the exact right amount of time. It's just wonderful.
Does it taste better?
Yes,
Interesting. I
it
might have
really
to get
does.
one. I'm on an Earl Grey kick. That's just what I happen to be drinking right now.
Ooh, I do love Earl Grey. Oh,
Mhm.
speaking of tea and also Dragon Con, which was where I think we met,
Yes.
um, tea and absinthe is where I actually heard about this tea kettle. They
Oh.
do they do the geeky teas.
Mhm.
So like I have, oh gosh, oh man, I've got a number of their stuff. Um, but there's the tea Earl Grey hot that they sell, which is like a Star Trek themed tea. So yeah, I when I say I brew a cup of tea and relax, it's usually
Mhm.
like I brew a cup of tea and then I drink it and then I brew another one and then I look at my tea cupboard and think I should probably organize this because I have so much and I'll probably buy some more the next time I see them.
Oh, look, an empty box. I'll buy 4 more.
Exactly, exactly. But yeah, I really I do enjoy just I enjoy reading. I was a reader before I was a writer. Um,
Mhm.
and I just yeah, that reading kept me company for a long time and it still does.
That's well, yeah, reading is also a big relaxation thing for our listeners, obviously, right? That's who is listening. If they wanted to see what Rachel A. Brune was about, where should they start?
Probably with my website.
Hmm?
I've got blog that kicked it off in like 2013 and it's been going strong. So there's blog posts.
Mhm.
There's my writing, which contains links to some of those things, or some of the publications are available for free.
Oh,
Um,
nice.
and then if people are interested in short stories,
Mhm.
the short story collection Side Roads is available on Kindle Unlimited.
Oh, cool.
So
And that was your
that,
newest release, right? The short story collection?
yes.
Mhm.
And that's where a lot of who I am comes out, is in my writing. Not all of it because that is horror and dark fiction. So,
You
um,
know,
eh, but I'm also pretty active on Twitter and Instagram and Facebook. Twitter and Instagram is the same. It's just Rachel A. Brune. And if you like pictures of my pets and my plants, that's what I got.
we shall see the lavender bloom.
Yes, I hope so. I hope I don't kill it
Yes,
before it
yes.
does. I'm knocking on wood.
Well, speaking of DragonCon, which is where we met, so very good. Good memory, good memory. Um, do you happen to have do you have any other like favorite conventions that you go to regularly?
I do.
Mhm.
My very first convention was Aresia up in Boston. And I had never gone to a convention. I didn't really quite know what one was. I'd heard of Comic-Con, but I didn't
Right.
realize that there were like other conventions that you could do geeky things at. Right? And so my friends from Tea and Absinthe, Dan and Pasita, were like, "Hey, we're going to be selling stuff here. Do you want to come?" I was like, Okay, sounds good." And I
Sure.
drove from Albany to Boston.
Mm.
And it was very cold because it was January, but it
Ooh.
was a terrific convention, a
Mhm.
lot of fun, great. It was just a great time, great panels. Um, and I'm not just saying that because later on I applied and they accepted me as a panelist, but
But it helps. Oh, I
it
mean.
doesn't, right? But I really enjoyed that one. I always feel a little bit like I'm kind of coming back to, like, oh, this is my first one. So you always kind of like remember that first convention. And
Mhm.
but I love Dragon Con. And then
Oh, yeah.
there's also a convention in Atlanta. I think we were talking about it,
Mhm.
Multiverse.
I've
And
been hearing more and more about that one.
it's a really fun convention. I love the fact that they have like an actual horror track. So they've got fantasy and science fiction writing, all this stuff, but
Mhm.
they have like an actual dedicated horror track with some amazing, amazing writers. And I went, I attended virtually in 2020, and then went in person last year, and I am planning to return again this coming October, just because it was so much fun and they have such a great vibe, and the people who run it are so efficient and like
Oh, it's awesome.
really good at it. um, so
That's
yeah.
fantastic. That's fun. Well, those are good ones to check out. So we have made it, Rachel, to the lightning round.
Whew,
We've
okay.
made it. Lightning round questions. All right, here
Okay.
we go. It only gets harder from here. I wouldn't be relieved if I was you. I'm telling you, this is
So,
awful. Okay. All right, here we go. Here we go.
okay.
What is your favorite flavor of ice cream?
Mint chocolate chip.
I'm telling you, that is the most popular one of writers. I'm doing a study, very formal study right now. Can zombies climb?
No.
No. Oh, nice. Look at that. All right. We've got Stephen. Stephen will be happy with that answer. Do you listen to music when you write?
No.
No, no music, huh? None. What is the best thing you have ever, or at least recently, eaten?
Chocolate.
Chocolate, just
Just
chocolate,
chocolate.
period. I like it. Just give me
I
chocolate.
love it so much.
Oh, see, now I have a coffee or tea question, but now I already know your answer for that one. So I'm going to have to ask you, which tea is your current obsession?
Jasmine green tea.
Nice. Good choice. And finally, even though I think you told us a bunch of them, now that you are everyone's favorite new author, where can fans find you and your work?
Online at infamous-scribbler.com, Twitter and Insta at Rachel A. Brune, and I am also on Facebook at Rachel A. Brune, or with Chrome Girls Press, which is the indie horror micropress that I'm currently running. We
Nice.
publish horror anthologies, and you can find us at chromegirlspress.com.
That's really cool. All right. Well, thank you so much. Now that y'all adore Rachel A. Brune, please make sure to review her work. And you can review us wherever it is you get podcast. You can also subscribe on YouTube, follow on Twitch, so that you don't miss out on any of the fun. And we will see you next Tuesday, 8 p.m. Central at twitch.tv/curseddragonship with Debbie Monbar Kafer. So we will see you then. Thank you.